Hello and welcome to Undoing the Complex with Chantel and Gummy Bear chewing Dante Nelson.
Welcome to the podcast. I got gummy bears.
He was sitting here like a zombie.
And I needed something to wake me up.
You were going to say coffee. You were going to say coffee.
I was, but didn't have the
It's
willpower to make a cup. Also, do you know that there's a study?
Oh, Lord, you in this study.
There's a study about
You
doctors.
love this study.
There's a study about doctors who they did kind of a two test groups. One test group had candy and another one didn't have candy. And they gave them the same problem. And the doctors who had candy got to the solution faster than the doctors who didn't. And the study, basically, the deduction or whatever you say, call that. Results. Was that through play and that kind of space that they got to the solution way quicker. So,
but did they test them 3 hours after that sugar consumption to see how well their brain was functioning?
Who cares? Lives were probably
crashing?
saved.
This is the thing about studies.
I got to stop eating this in the camera in the mic because I think I can hear like the smacking of my tongue, the saliva.
You got to be careful with studies because they tell you a small little snippet of the information and then you're like, oh, gummy bears makes you smart.
I know that's true. But this one is working in my favor because I eat candy at work a little bit more now.
I know. I've seen that big stack of gummy bears in your drawer.
I know, it helps me.
I know.
Long days.
Well, today we are talking about a subject that actually one of you guys on Instagram asked a question about. And it was, how do you stay connected with your spouse with kids?
That's a real thing. all the parents just said, hold on. We got to listen. Turn this up right now.
Well, this is going to be a really short episode because the long story short is that we don't stay connected. Just
Man,
kidding.
You figure it out. Like, it's a lot. Sorry, y'all. It took me a long time because I literally was trying to swallow a gummy bear.
It's a lot.
It is a lot. Before we even dive into that, all the parents out there, we just want to give y'all a shout out because we are the unsung heroes. All right. People can't hear the clap that well, babe. But we know it's real, especially if you have young kids. Man, it is a lot.
It's a lot. It is nonstop.
We love our kids, but
never ceasing, never ending, forever going.
But we are so glad that they are in the bed right now.
Yes.
Lord, let them sleep in until 8:00.
But this is a really great subject because for those of you that have kids, especially young kids, where they need your attention and they are not as independent, and so they pull from you a lot. And the capacity and the energy and the space that you would normally have to give to your spouse is now being pulled and drained throughout the day by little people who need you all the time. And so then by the time the end of the day rolls around, the reserves that you have saved for an evening with your spouse have been drained.
You don't have it.
By your kids.
You're like, I have nothing to give you.
And so then it's like, sorry, babe, I'm tired. I got to go to bed.
Right. Is that when I'm like asking for something that married people do?
Yeah, like a conversation and to hang out on the couch.
Great conversation. Yeah, I love conversations.
To watch a movie together.
Yeah, movies are incredible.
I fall asleep in every single movie we watch.
Yeah, I'm used to it now. Remember I used to get offended by that?
Yeah, you did.
And fall asleep during movies, and I wanted you to stay up.
I know.
I thought it was the romantic thing to do. We stay up late and watch movies together.
But now the romantic thing is like, hey, baby, you want to watch a movie? And I said, yeah, I'll watch it for 20 minutes and then fall asleep next to you.
And then you fall asleep on my shoulder, and I love it so much.
I do. Or he watches a movie in the bed, and then I can just fall asleep.
Yeah.
5 minutes in.
It's fun. I like that.
But we've found ways to be able to stay connected with small kids.
Yes.
And
don't get it perfectly.
No.
But we do
we have some rhythms.
Yes.
Rhythms that are not foolproof, but they meet our needs for connection throughout the week.
They've been tested and tried by our beautiful kids.
Yes.
And we have so many moments of me trying to express my heart or something, and my beautiful son's eye just keeps interrupting, and
he loves to to
Yeah,
it's like
his
he
thing.
knows when we're having
I'm like, I was just
a
about to
conversation
share
with
the
each other.
vulnerable spaces of my heart with my friend, and you don't care about my emotions right now. And they at all.
And we've also taught him this thing, though, because he would just interrupt and get angry.
Yeah.
And so I taught him this thing. Okay, when you have a thought, but mommy and daddy are talking, I need you to hold your thought in your hand like a fist.
Catch it and hold it.
Catch it and hold it so that you don't forget it, and just hold your
And
thought
so
up in the
now
air.
he walks around with one fist in the air
and goes,
I'm like, wait, what? Yeah, and it literally just holds it up. I'm like, son, you can't like this. That's not like.
And he gets
raise your
impatient the
hand.
second he sticks his fist
yeah.
up in the air.
Like, you still gotta wait.
He's 4.
He's 4. So, and then our beautiful son Kobe, who just does not care at all about whatever's
if he wants
going
milk right
on.
there, he's
He
gonna
wants
yell
it
it.
right then and there.
He calls milk nut me.
Yeah,
Not me, not me.
What he used to call it?
He used to call it nyup, nyup, nyup.
And then now he says nut me. Like, what? Son, what? Like, what in your brain said, let's change it up to nut me? And call it. It's got a
Literally
thing.
one
nut
day.
me. And that white stuff that drizzles down. Nut me. I want that.
If he sees it in the grocery store from afar, he'll start yelling, nut me, nut me. Like, we went down the detergent aisle the other day, and he was pointing, nut me,
like,
because there are a
"Milk
bunch of
everywhere."
white detergent.
Alexa, off.
I didn't realize she was playing.
Sorry, y'all.
All right.
We're in our living room.
We're going to get to a few simple ways to stay connected in marriage with ... kids.
With kids.
And so our first question, we're gonna pose these in question format so
And
that
also,
you can
Also, if you're not a
ask
parent,
yourself.
oh, look at this. If you're not a parent,
if you can't see him because it's a podcast,
yes.
he just found a pair of sunglasses in his pocket and now he's wearing them.
Yep. So if you're not a parent and one day you want to be a parent, then this is also for you, because you get to go in with maybe a little bit more of a game plan. My thing is, Chantel just like smirked because she's like, game plans don't matter.
I don't think you can ever be prepared for kids. Ever.
Yeah, because you don't know. It's like
I read
kids
the
are
books,
like a box of chocolate. You
I
never
read
know
the
what you're gonna get.
blogs.
Yeah.
And I spent the first year of Zai's life trying to unread everything that I had prepared myself for.
You did. You studied those books, and I was just telling you to kind of give me a synopsis of the story.
No, you were supposed to read the highlighted sections in the book.
Right. Didn't do that. Anyways, for all of the non-parents out there that maybe one day want to be parents, this hopefully you can go back to this podcast once you have kids, or maybe you're pregnant right now and your kid is coming and you're like, man, I want to be as prepared as I can. I would even say listen to this, because even the feeling of, man, I'm getting information feels good. So maybe it'll boost your confidence, even though it won't help your game plan.
There you go.
There you go. Okay.
All right, we're gonna phrase these in terms of a question so that you can ask yourself,
yes,
do I have these things in my life? So number 1, do you have windows of time for connection?
Yeah, this was a thought that came from with kids. They take up a lot of your time between work and family and work and family and church. Is
and the social events calendar.
And social events and our businesses that we're trying to build, the dreams that we're going after, trips, all those different things that, make up the beautiful mosaic of our life. Kids are involved in the majority of them if you actually are going to be present with your kids and you want to build memories with them. Every age is a crucial age. There's never a moment to check out with your kids. And so this reality happens because you are still husband and wife when you have kids. And all of us know this, but like when kids come into the picture, you have to rediscover connection with each other.
Because no longer do you have 5 hours after you get home from work to spend together.
And we only had that we found out 4 months in that you're pregnant into marriage. And then 9 months later, Zai is busting the scenes saying like, come on, let's get it going. I'm ready to have some fun.
Yeah.
And so I think for us, finding windows was so important for our connection, and having those windows now more than ever, especially the more busier or full life gets, having windows of time has been probably one of the most beneficial things for us. And so the question is, do you know your windows?
And by windows, you mean?
I mean those spaces in between the day that you find where you can actually see each other.
Mm-hmm.
And for us, I know a big one is literally like right before we actually hopped on this thing, or even right now we're kind of connecting, even though this is, for you guys, we're enjoying this.
Mm-hmm.
And this is us being able to talk. And then after we get off the podcast and we start tearing down stuff, we're talking about our day. We're seeing where each other are at.
And usually other windows, like windows can be big windows or like small little pocket windows. Like usually during dinner time, we always ask each other, what was the highlight of your day? What was something that made you laugh today? Questions like that, where it's like, we're not just going about the parenting grind and then everything falls on after the kids go to bed. We're catching up. We're texting throughout the day sometimes. Sometimes you'll come home for lunch and you'll call me on the way home. Yeah. And we'll
sometimes
talk.
I can't text back. And you know that's not me like ignoring your text, but I'm busy in the day, But there's sometimes where one of us is having a hard day and we just need to let the other person see us. We're not looking for a full-on conversation over text. We used to. But like being able to let the other person see you and having those windows. I was going to say something about the dinner space earlier this past week. Usually when we're at the dinner table, we have a loose no phone policy that we don't bring the phones to the table.
I don't think it's loose. It's pretty strict.
I'm saying loose in the sense of like if you got to send something or something has to get done at the time, it's not like, you're getting shot from having the phone at the table. But this past week, and for us, we want us being at the table eating together to be a part of our family. But earlier this week, me and Chantel hadn't had a lot of space to connect, and we literally put on the show, and the boys started watching the show, and we literally just talked and connected and used that as a window. Mm-hmm. And even though that's not normally a thing, it's like, oh, actually, man, our connection is that important that, we can let them watch a little bit of the show if it's actually going to keep them preoccupied right now. Right. And they're going to be in the living room. Man, let's just talk and catch up for a little bit.
Mm-hmm. Another window of time that we do to kind of, we're going to start to do this. What do we call it?
We haven't came up with the name. You talking about the powwow thing?
Yeah, it's not the powwow thing. It's the
we didn't even call it powwow.
Nelson game plan. Nelson.
The Nelson game plan. See,
I'm talking about this window that is, I have the drafted plans.
We're also going to see if it works.
Window.
We don't know if this window is going to work. We're testing it out.
Okay, because normally on Mondays, we have a window of time between when we drop Zion off at school and when we go to work. And it's 45 minutes. And we've always taken that window to, usually we process business, but we're going to try and make it a thing of.
And we've processed a bit of life too.
Oh, yeah, for sure. It's kind of been an open window.
Yeah.
But we're going to try and make it a space where we talk through the week, because a lot of times when you have kids too, your schedule is so full and you're kind of just on the fly. Like, we got this tonight, we got that tomorrow. Like, I'm working this day, we're getting a babysitter this day. And so we wanted to create a window of time in our week where we can actually connect with each other and actually see what's happening for the week, so that life isn't just hitting us in the face, and that we can go into the week knowing what's happening, so that our windows of connection are actually for connection and not us talking through details.
Yeah.
And so that's the hope for the window. Like I said, the plans have been drafted.
Yeah.
But it hasn't been built yet. But that's what we're trying to do.
But one of our main windows of time of connection is after we put both boys to bed. We sit on the couch out in the front room before we go take a shower, do all those things, and kind of wind down for the night. Mm-hmm. That's kind of our biggest all right, we know. And sometimes that's 5 minutes. Sometimes that's 45 minutes.
Right.
Depending on where we're at. Sometimes we've had a long day and we're like, man, I just want to shower, not be touched, not have to talk to anybody, and just go sleep.
And these windows are apart from date nights and longer periods of time where we're hanging out. These aren't the only times of connection. These are just more so through the week, through the work week windows.
Now we need some times that we can actually
that
see
we can
each other on. And then you get those gift moments, where the our kids are getting along and they're just going in the room playing and having a lot of fun. And then you're like, oh, look,
Here's a
hey,
window.
how you doing? How you doing? And we get to actually talk for a little bit
Yes.
over dinner, prep or something like that.
So if you don't have these kinds of windows, find them and create them.
Yeah.
Because the thing about these windows is a lot of times throughout the week, if we get disconnected or we have an argument over something and we can't process it right there in front of our kids, or if it needs a little bit more unpacking, we know, okay, once the kids go to bed, we're going to talk this through. And even on Wednesday nights, we're both busy, but usually Thursday mornings are a little bit slower of a morning, so we can have time to unpack it. These windows are so that there's always a space in your week where you're getting to connect and process through things that you might have had to put on the shelf while your kids are running around screaming and eating you.
And sometimes you have to create those windows. Like, hey, what do you think if we, talk about that thing like on a drive?
Right.
Before we go to this next thing, can we talk on a drive and see how far we get? Because a lot of times that unpacking is like, man, we said something and someone misunderstood the other person, or you said something that you didn't mean, or a misunderstanding that you don't have time to actually clarify because a kid just interrupted and said, someone has poop somewhere. And, and you got to go figure that thing out. For us, we've really built some trust of like, I know that if you're running in there, you're not running away from me.
Mm-hmm.
If you're running to actually go help Cy or go do this thing, we're not avoiding each other or avoiding the thing that we need to talk about. And so I think a lot of times knowing like, what am I thinking and what are you thinking? And hey,
Which is number 2.
Oh, okay, it is.
Do you keep short accounts with disconnection?
Yes. Oh, look at that. I completely forgot about that point.
Mm-hmm.
Yes. So keeping short accounts with moments of disconnection has been something that we've done that's really been helpful, because I never have to have a question in my mind about what you're thinking about me.
Mm-hmm. And this is coming from the fact that for years we didn't.
Right.
And we kept the longest accounts, and we would just have a disconnection or a disagreement and put it up on the shelf, and life was busy and we never brought it back down.
And half of it was avoidance of conflict, but the other half was the reality of having kids.
Yeah.
Man, if you have to go figure something out with your son, or something's happening, and I know I'm not being specific with moments, but I'm just saying, like, if a kid is screaming because they have poop in a diaper and that diaper needs to be changed, you're gonna go change the diaper. And so just so many times these things are just always coming up at the perfect time where you need to talk through something. Mm-hmm. It just always, for somehow, it just lines perfectly with a moment of conflict and a child needing something. And so a lot of times you can feel powerless in those moments, but keeping short accounts really helps diffuse, like, oh, this isn't the only window I'm going to have to let you see me. Because when those windows are small and the short accounts isn't happening, everything feels high stakes. Every argument, every disagreement, and I'm only saying this because this is what I remember us like, man, it feels like it's the end of the world if we don't figure it out right now.
And when we weren't keeping short accounts with each other, it would just build up. And then when we did have a window of time to be together, the last thing we would want to do is sit down and have to go through the laundry list of all the arguments. So then it would just keep growing.
Yes.
And so keeping short accounts with each other allows us to process disagreements or disconnections really quickly after they happen, when the kids go to bed, when we have a second to talk it through, so that we're not just like piling it on top of each other.
And then it's not taking up the whole night, and then you end up going to bed still disconnected.
Yeah.
So that's definitely been something that's helped us. You want to go to the next one?
How are you teaching your kids that your relationship is valuable?
That's a great question. First of all, they don't care. Our toddlers.
Yet.
Because they don't understand.
Yes.
And so I guess the better question is, how do we get our kids to understand that this is important?
Mm-hmm.
And for us, I know one of my first thoughts was, I remember when Zai would kind of freak out when we would kiss. And and for me, it was like, man, I can either
Bow to his
bow to
demand.
that, and man, I just don't want to hear the screaming again.
Mm-hmm.
Or I can look at him and say, hey, Sonny, this is my wife. And this is what daddy does to show affection. And I'm always going to kiss her. So you're going to have to get used to that. And you actually, like, this love right here, because of this, you get to have so much fun in this house and in this family.
Yeah.
Because of what we're doing in our connection. And so I think for us, like, when he sees us kiss and things like that, he doesn't think anything of it. But a lot of times we have to show our kids that, man, we're snuggled. Mommy and daddy are snuggling. We're close. We're looking at each other with googly eyes, and all of that in front of them.
I heard it. This one older couple in our community were talking about how they teach their kids that their relationship is valuable. And they go on trips, I think, 2 times a year for a couple days away from their kids. And their kids would ask them, like, why do you always go? Why do you leave? And like, why do you go without us? And their answer was, because one day you're going to leave this house and you're going to go have your own family, but me and daddy are always going to be together, and we need to invest in that.
Yeah. And that's different with like toddlers. Like
right.
we completely understand, like, we don't even like leaving our kids for too long.
I'm just talking about creating
that season for them. Yeah.
Creating the value and the understanding that we're not just mom and dad. Right. That's not our only job. That's not our only role and title. It's we're married and we're friends and we like to spend time together, and it's not just all about them.
Yeah. And for us, I think we do a lot of explaining with our kids of like, hey, the reason daddy kissed mommy is because daddy loves mommy so much. And this is how daddy expresses his love towards mommy. Do you love when daddy shows love to you?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. How does that make you feel when I show love to you? What does that make you feel like? Oh, okay. What do you feel when daddy kissed mommy? What does that make you feel? I don't know. Okay, well, maybe we can talk about that, because daddy wants you to feel okay when he kisses mommy. And then we do it again.
Mm-hmm.
And that's the conversation we're having. We're not having, am I gonna kiss her or not in front of you?
Yeah.
Like that's not an option. Love is going to be shown in the house in different ways to different people. And the way that's going to happen between mommy and daddy is going to be through hugs, holding hands, googly eyes, and kissing on the cheek, kissing on the forehead. We're not, tongue kissing in front of our kids. We ain't going to do that. But we are showing each other affection in front of our kids so that they are used to the idea of mommy and daddy time is an important thing in this house.
Yeah, that's good. Lastly, number 4, does your spouse know where you're at?
Yeah, I think that kind of goes hand in hand with the keeping the short accounts.
Mm-hmm.
But also, does your spouse know you're having a long day at work? I think we do a really good job. If I'm coming home and I've had a day, I'm like, babe, I'm a little tapped. That doesn't mean that I'm disconnecting or not going to show up to my family. The 5 p.m. coming or 4:30 p.m. coming home from work time, I know this for a fact, is a huge trigger point among so many marriages of people with kids, because as stay-at-home moms, we've been home all day with the kids, and we're waiting. Like, that time between 4 and 4:30 is like the slowest time on earth, and we're waiting for the relief to come. Yeah. And this is the case with stay-at-home moms and working dads. There's lots of different combinations of whatever. But Dante's coming home after having a long, exhausting day too. And so it can be a point of tension and disagreement and disconnection when there's so much expectation on both ends. Right. And then you're just coming in all at the same time without no communication. One is exhausted from being with the kids all day. The other's exhausted from having a long day at work. And then it all just kind of erupts in frustration. Yeah. And so does your spouse know where you're at is exactly what you were saying. Yeah. Like, I'll text you. But you also want to physically know where I'm at. Like, hey, where are you? You're like,
no, listen, when it's like 4:25, I'm like looking at your location and being like, is the dot moving?
Me and a friend, we were explaining to some guys who didn't have kids, and we were talking about the reality of like listen, man, it is terrifying to like be coming home from work and you know your wife is like wondering, where are you? Need you to get home now. And you're coming up, pulling up to the driveway, and your kids are like with all of the energy ready to play.
Or I'm holding
From
the
a
door
long
handle
day,
ready to let them
it is
out.
the most terrifying thing for a dad to come home after a long day with kids with the energy that is ready to freaking fire off a rocket. And they're like, play. I want to play. I'm ready. Come on, daddy. Let's do it. It's terrifying.
I bet it is.
And so I think a lot of times, like, being known by your spouse and letting them know, like, where you're at,
Mm-hmm.
I think that really, just so that you can have some grace to show up where you're at. Sometimes I'll come in the house and I'm like, all right, we're going to play, but daddy's going to, like, lay down and you're going to jump on my back. Like, you can wrestle me, you can punch me, kick me. I'm just going to lay there dead.
You play that the game that we learned from our friend.
What's on my butt? What's on my butt? And you lay down. Listen, this is about to change your life. You lay down on the couch or the floor.
On your stomach.
On your stomach. And you say, all right, I want you to go grab something. And I'm going to try to guess what you put on my butt. And they put it on there. And I say, what's on my butt? Like, I can't tell you. And you just keep guessing. And you just do it as long as you can. But you know you're trying to get a couple of Z's while you're doing it. So your focus shouldn't be what's on your butt. You should be focusing on, man, this ground feels nice. I've still
You
pulled
played
that
that game.
out.
Oh no, you played it a couple days ago.
Yeah, I know. But also I'll be honest, I'm still figuring out making sure I'm home consistently at 4:30. So I would say you
did a good job last week.
Yeah, I would say that that's an area that I'm like, man, I'm really building back trust.
I was gonna say all of
like,
this.
I got to make sure I get home on time, 4:30.
It comes with trust, like knowing where your spouse is at. Comes with trust of like they're not just gonna be like, hey, listen, I'm tapped today, and it's been like 100 days in a row.
Hey, I'm tapped. I can't do it.
We've actually I feel like we've gotten pretty good at this of like me texting you around 4 being like, babe, I am exhausted and I had a really hard day.
Yeah.
And you come in and sometimes you've had a long day too.
Yeah.
And we both just kind of go at it having a long day. But then there's sometimes when you're like, okay, I'm gonna come
ready.
home.
I'm ready.
I'm going to be present.
100%.
I'm going to show up. You kind of get your game face on the ride home.
Yep.
But that wouldn't we wouldn't be able to meet each other's need in that space if we didn't actually communicate where it is that we're at.
Yeah. And I think not feeling the pressure that you're not thinking that you're going to put pressure on the other spouse by letting them know where you're at. Because I think a lot of times we withhold because we're like, oh, they probably had a long day too, so I don't want to let them know where I'm at. Well, no, it's not like you're letting them know because they're about to carry all the brunt. It's so that, hey, where are you at? This is where I'm at. Man, we see each other. How can we be a team?
Mm-hmm.
Because this is all about being a team. Like, so that when things come up, man, because we know where each other at, man, I'm going to push a little bit more for you. I got your back. Man, I'm going to do that with you. I got your back. Yeah.
Yeah. And the thing about connection in marriage with kids is that they're only little for a short amount of time. And so we're only in the space where their needs
Lord,
are so high.
I'm believing that with you.
Because one day they go to school and
that's true.
They become more independent. They hang out with their friends. And
you can speak more than that because I'm not home throughout the work week. I'm in the office and stuff. And so you're the one feeling a lot of the breeze of them going to school.
Right. But even in our connection and being married, there's going to be this, I don't know, maybe there's going to be
That's
more
what
space
I'm saying.
when they grow up.
You're saying this, but I'm like, hold on, I haven't experienced this yet. You might have heard this on the podcast, another podcast.
Let us know. We're not sure.
Yeah, we're not sure. We're only talking about like what
we have
we've
a 4-year-old
experienced and what we figured out.
and a 2-year-old, almost 2-year-old.
Yeah. We're still in toddler land. And it's hard.
Yeah. But we have to figure out how to keep our connection strong.
That's what I was going to. So it's hard, but our connection isn't dying because of it.
Yeah.
Yeah. Like I feel more connected to you than ever.
Yeah.
And in our kids, and we're wanting to have a third at some point, and so like, yeah, we must be doing good if we're thinking about having a third child, but yeah, so we hope that this helps. We hope that you can take some of this and get a little inspired with where you're at, and feel a little bit more hope, and maybe get a couple of laughs just to feel understood and seen, because we are in that parenting life with y'all, and it is rewarding and fun, but man, it is tiring.
It is no joke.
We just came back from a trip and are spending time with the boys today, and we're just so excited to be with them and go on a little walk outside and put them down to bed and snuggle them. It's a lot.
Mm-hmm.
It's a lot.
Yeah, well, that's a wrap.
That's a wrap.
We love you guys, and we will be back soon.